Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, Professor VP Singh, I believe. सुप्रिया जी कौन बोलेंगे अभी? Professor VP. So I now invite Professor VP Singh to give his presentations.
Thank you, Professor Sahu. Am I audible? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Professor Sahu. First of all, I would like to express my gratitude to the organizers of this webinar on the birthday of Professor Brij Chauhan. And I think this is a very important development in the field of rural sociology, as he has been a pioneer of one of the pioneers of rural sociology in India. So my presentation will be in 4 parts. Although we can speak for hours on Professor Chauhan and his contribution, but I will limit myself on 4 points. And I would also like to inform the audience that our organization, that is Global Research and Educational Foundation India, has taken initiative in 2019, and we organized first memorial lecture, B.R. Chauhan memorial lecture in 2019 on the occasion of international conference we organized in November 2019, and Professor J.K. Pundir has delivered that lecture. And recently in November 2022, in another international conference organized by GRAPHI, the second Brij Chauhan Memorial Lecture was delivered by Professor Rajesh Mishra. And I am very happy that just after few months, we are celebrating the birthday of Professor Brij Chauhan in form of this webinar. So I would like to focus on 4 dimensions. First is my personal experience with Professor Chauhan, which started in 1978 when I took admission in MPhil program at Meerut University, which is now called Chaudhry Charan Singh University. It was a very specific experience of being a student in the MPhil program at Meerut University. In the first semester, we have a very different kind of paper, that is the emerging trends in sociology. And this emerging trend in sociology focused on what is going on in 1 year, and through there were 72 research journals which were subscribed by the Meerut University at that time. We have counted 72 journals of sociology or social sciences, you can say. And we were given the task to go through the journals and prepared that the articles which are all the articles which appeared in those journals, and a bibliography was prepared, and then every article was classified according to the theme, certain themes like social stratification, political interactions, or like economy related to economy, or like that. And then trend were identified, and we were also asked to find out the most quoted authors on a particular theme, on social stratification, on political interactions, like that. And then a report on that outcome of that exercise, our examinations were conducted. And there was a paper on that, and we have to write 4 or 5 questions were given to answer that. So it was a very new experimental kind of things of introducing the courses of this type in Meerut University at the MPhil level. So this is what a specific experience I think we were having at Meerut University under the guidance of Professor Brij Chauhan, which is not found in any other university except Barkatullah University, where Professor Arvind Chauhan introduced this paper, and it was considered the most difficult paper in Barkatullah University. In the second semester, there was another experiment, and I think it is related to his own research work, and that was to introduce a seminar paper. And I offered this paper instead of the area study of Nepal, which was offered by some other set of my student colleagues there. But I preferred this because Professor Chauhan was taking this paper. So I was well aware when I took admission that I have to work with Professor Chauhan only for my thesis, because I was told by my teacher at NAS College, Professor BP Sharmani, that you should do your PhD under Professor Chauhan, and he is the right person who can train you in the field, in the research. So I took this paper, seminar paper, and in that year, the topic of the seminar paper was social network. I think Professor Pundir has already told about this concept and how this concept was used in his studies. And I will try to connect these things, his first work, that is Rana, the Rajasthan village, and his further works. So we took this, and we were given some, we were asked that you go to the library and find out some book on social network. So we went to library and we searched if there is any book on social network, and found one book, Family and Social Network by Elizabeth Bott. So I was happy to able to search a book on social network. I took that work and I informed in my next class that I found one book on family and social network. So he asked me, okay, you then review this work. So that was my task in that particular course, and I have prepared a seminar on that I presented in the last of the semester, and write a small seminar paper that is about 30 pages. This book introduced me with the concept of social network. I have gone through every page of that from preface to the end, and it was a pioneer study in the field of social network that I came to know later. And then there was other books were presented, and then in a class, Professor Chauhan asked that why why this concept of social network was introduced. And we were not able to find the answer of that, because the later works on social network have not discussed it. Even the John Barnes, who has given this concept, his later book was available, but the original book, original article in which he introduced the concept of social network was not available in our library. I went to Delhi University Library, Tata Ratan Library, and find out a book in which that original article of John Barnes was republished. I borrowed that book with the help of one of my seniors, Meenakshi, and then I xeroxed that paper, and then I told Professor Chauhan that I got this paper from Delhi University Library. So he said, okay, then tomorrow give seminar on this. This kind of exercises we did. Just one night was given to me to read and give seminar tomorrow. Okay, whole night I gone through the paper, and next day I have presented what I have read in front of that. And on that day there were only 3-4 students. There were number of students were not more. There were only 5-6 students. 4 students were present in that seminar, and after that he has made some comments, and those comments are the part of my MPhil thesis and part of my PhD thesis. And in that he explained that why the concept of social network was introduced. So this was the understanding which developed during that course, and I think that most beneficial course. And here I would like to share with the research scholars particularly one tip or the approach Professor Chauhan has used for research. And he says that you are not so good in English, or you are not have the capacity to go for theoretical works or to read the classical thinkers in this stage, or go through other literature in sociology. So he has innovated one very important method of research, and that is that you go and read the basics of a concept and then try to see this in the field situation. And there are two ways of understanding a concept. Either you go through literature, or you go in the field situation and see how it is operating in the field situation. And I will share with you that after going through the seminar course, I was able to see the operation of social network in society. So this was, and everything I was trying to relate to, yes, here social network is operating. And I think this is how my understanding of social network was developed. And during my MPhil dissertation, I applied for the position of research assistant in a UNESCO project, which was given to Professor Chauhan on rural-urban articulations. And I was selected in that as a research assistant, myself, Professor Abbasi, and one more fellow, our MPhil colleague, Mr. K.V. Singh, Krishnavir Singh. He was also selected that, and we were 3 research assistants in that particular project. And I think that it is worth to mention about this project here. The social network which I studied during seminar course, and it has to be applied to understand the rural-urban articulations. We selected 3 villages, Akhapur, Rankhandi and Kotana. Akhapur was a Jat village, and it was the village of Krishnavir Singh. So we stayed at his home and completed fieldwork. It has taken only 1 month time. Then we proceeded to Rankhandi. In Rankhandi, village Pradhan, Mr. Shyam Singh Pundir, he was the main person who was host of the students and teachers who were visiting from Meerut University to the village. I was not aware about all these things. So when I have to visit Rankhandi village, I informed my father that I have to go there. And Rankhandi is a Rajput village. And I am also a Rajput, and we are having kinship ties in that particular village. So my father told me that daughter of our village Pradhan, Vibhuti Singh's daughter, is married in Rankhandi. So he discussed with Mr. Vibhuti Singh and gave me the details about the family of his daughter's husband in Rankhandi. So when we visited Rankhandi, so we first went to Mr. Shyam Singh Pundir's house, who was village Pradhan at that time. And then I inquire about Mr. Karam Singh, who was the husband or of Vibhuti Singh's daughter, and I express my will that I wish to visit there. So we all three, KV Singh, myself, and Abbasi, we went to that house and we introduced ourselves. And as soon as he come to know that I belong to village Matnavali, that is my village's name. So they were very happy and they insisted, no, you will not stay in any other house. All of you will stay here through the field visit. And we all three stayed there for more than about 1.5 months in that house. And as Professor Chauhan told me, there are three parts: Chaupal, Gher, and Ghar. So in the Gher, there was a big room, and in that our cots were fixed, and we stayed there for more than 1 month. And during field work, we discovered that their other relatives were also there in that village, and they welcome. And most of the because it is a Pundir village, dominant caste is Pundir. So we covered most of the families there and their rural urban interactions. And as soon as they come to know about us, and they offered us lunch, and invariably we were taking lunch in one family, all three of us, and we were working different parts of the work, but at 1 o'clock we have to come, and it was already informed that tomorrow we will take our lunch in such and such family's house. So I think that we could not fulfill the desire of taking lunch there even after 1.5 months in that village. So this kind of hospitality we received in the village Rankhandi. So I am not going in details of that. I am trying to say that how we can resolve the problems of staying in a village. Because I am not in favor that we should be a visitor to the village. We should stay there over a period of time, and only then we can understand the village. Our next village was Kotana. Kotana has been field of Professor J.K. Pundir, and one Tyagi family, the head of the family was headmaster of the junior high school of Kotana. And we were told, you go and contact headmaster ji, Tyagi ji, and he will make arrangement. So he has made arrangement in the one room of the school. And comfortably we started our field work there. But after some time, when we moved to other part of the village has having a population of Hindus as well as Muslims, and Muslims were about 50% of the population in that village. So when we moved to Muslim part, we find that people were running away from us. So we were having problem why people are not cooperating with us. So then we talk to some Muslim people there. So they told, problem is that you are staying in the house of Tyagi. So this was a great shock to us, that staying in one house of some person may be a problem in the field work. Oh yes, because he belonged to some other party and we belonged to some other party. So I think this was a great shock to us. Okay, then we have met the village Pradhan, Mr. Maqsood Khan. He was a Rohilla Pathan, and we express our wish that we wish to stay in your place, and he was very happy. And then he has vacated one room for us, for me and Abbasiji. KV Singh was not accompanying us in that study. He was having some personal problems. So we two stayed in that room that was on the first floor of his house. And he told me, because I am pure vegetarian, he said, I told the ladies of my house that they should maintain strictness in preparing the food for us, because he said that our ladies have the habit that with the same big spoon they use it for non-veg as well, and also for vegetarian food. The same spoon they use in preparing that. So he said that you should not do this and prepare pure vegetarian meal for them. Khair, we started our work there, and it was one important incident which I would like to uh, mention here, that there was one family of Qureshi family, and we were going asked that please for his interview of that person. He was saying, okay, okay, yes, I will give. And I just coming within 2 minutes. And we were sitting in his ghair, but he disappeared. And after 1 year, after 1 hour also, he was not available. And we returned from there because he was not there. 2-3 times it happens. Then we decided, okay, then we find out where is he. He was at his tube well. It was about 1.5 kilometers from the village. So we went to his tube well, and there, first of all, he was not willing to give interview, but later on he agreed. Okay, we say, okay, we are not conducting interview. We just want to talk to you. And when we started talk to him, he was become very, open to us, and that conversation has clarified the political structure of that. Up to that time, we were not aware that what kind of factional politics is there in the village. And then he told, okay, we belong to Janata Party, and Tyagiji belong to Congress Party. So this type of, then the political structure of the village was clear. And when we informed Professor Chauhan about all this, he was very happy. Okay, now you have been now expert how to conduct field work. So then this is about Kotana village. One important thing about Kotana village is, which I would like to mention, is the case of leather workers. And here I would also, that we were working among the leather workers who belong to untouchable caste, and one boy of Maqsood Khan families, he was in high school, and he was accompanying us as youngsters like the researchers. So we went to house of a leather worker, and we find that he offered tea to us. We have taken tea, but that Muslim fellow has not taken tea. When we visited next time, that leather worker informed us, sir, you see, you have taken the tea, but you see that even Muslims are not accepting our tea. So this is how untouchability percolate in not only Hindus, among Muslims also. This was a new experience for us. Another important observation about leather workers was that they were some of the leather workers who were primary educated have moved to Delhi, and there they worked for 1 year or more in some leather work. You know that small leather shoe making shops, and they learned to make shoes and the the leather chappals, which are very modern type of chappals which we take use even today. So they started to produce these things in the village, and for market they have chosen Badot town, nearby town, and Sonipat, that is after crossing Yamuna in Haryana, they were selling out their products in Sonipat and Badot. So this is how the rural urban articulation and modernization of the earlier they were making the jutis, that is rural type of shoes. Perhaps some of you may be aware that today nobody use those jutis, but at that time these were in uh, were in existence. But I don't think now anyone is wearing those jutis. Maybe in some villages, but maybe rare. But today I don't find that this kind of shoes are used in the villages as well. So my finding was, and when they come back, they trained the uh, youngsters in this technology, and in this way, the leather shoe making technology modernizes, and at mass scale in the village, the whole caste was involved in this kind of production. So even primary education is sufficient for the modernization of the technology in rural areas. This was one of the important findings of our study. Second thing which I would like to tell about Professor Chauhan is that in 1979 he published a research journal named Emerging Sociology. And on the occasion of the Jabalpur conference, which held in December 1978, I took admission in 1978, and I accompanied with other students to that conference. And there, this journal was released by Professor I.P. Desai. And this Emerging Sociology journal, it was published to promote the research work of the younger generation of the sociologists, particularly research scholars and those who are working at the at lecturer level in colleges and universities. So Professor Pundir, Professor S.S. Sharma, and all Satyanarayana, their articles were published. Professor Yogesh Atal's article was also published, and some papers from abroad were also published in this journal. So this continued for 5-6 years, and in 1981, when the Office of the Sociology Worker Sangams, the organization which was formed by Professor Chauhan and his students in different parts of the India and abroad were in the editorial advisory board of this journal. Uh, there was some problem, and office has to be shifted. It was shifted to my home, and I assisted Professor Chauhan uh, in bringing out 2 issues of Emerging Sociology through proofreading and to get it printed in the printing press. This was my first exposure to a research journal, the process of publishing a research journal. But unfortunately, in 1984, I moved to Guwahati to join NIRD as research associate. And after 2 years, I think after that, Emerging Sociology could not be published because in 1987, Professor Chauhan retired and moved to Etawah. And the publication of Emerging Sociology ceased and discontinued that. So it was a great setback to us because I was actively involved, and sometimes I consider myself responsible for the close down of the journal because I shifted in 1984, and after 2 years, the publication of Emerging Sociology was also ceased. So in 1989, I joined Bartullah University as lecturer in sociology. Professor Arvind Chauhan was already there. And after 3-4 years, we realized that there is a need to publish a research journal. And in 1994, we started a journal, and that journal is having one, word in common of the journal which was published by Professor Chauhan, and that is of emerging. And the title of our journal was Emerging Trends in Development Research, because I came through Institute of Rural Development, so development was dominating in my mind. So I started this journal, Emerging Trends in Development Research. But most of the published articles are of sociology in it. So you can say it was in one sense reincarnation of emerging sociology. And Professor Chauhan was used to visit Bhopal at the time, and once when he visited Bhopal at the residence of Arvind Chauhan, he we started and we informed him about the journal. He was very happy, and he has handed me over one of his paper, which he read in, I think, in African country. I think he visited Kenya, and there he read a paper. He handed over that paper to me to publish in Emerging Trends in Development Research. And it was 1995 issue, second issue of the Emerging Trend. And I am happy that this journal is continuing even today. And Professor Chauhan is my mentor, my guide. Even today, he is my guide. And I get inspiration from him for so many works. Foundation of Graphy is because of his inspiration, his training that we are having. The journals like Navrashna and Emerging Trends in Development Research is also because of the experience I was having with Professor Chauhan, the training I was having with him. Now I will come to the third part of my presentation, and that is on Rajasthan village. I have gone through this pioneer work of Professor Chauhan, and I think there are some